For the next couple of days, you guys are going to be using mass and velocity to measure the force of gravity. And really what we're trying to do is figure out what it takes to make a stable orbit for one object to be orbiting something else. We're going to be using this great simulation called PhET My Solar System. And before I start playing around with it a little bit here, you can do things in the simulation like adjust the mass or the velocity of your object. So for example, here's a sun and a planet. And if I wanted to add some mass to my sun, I could make it much larger or smaller. I recommend you don't make it too big. Otherwise, it starts glitching out a little bit. You'll figure it out. You can also adjust the velocity of the object. That's how fast it's moving and the direction it's moving too. You can type in some numbers, but you can also drag these velocity arrows different directions to set the conditions for what way and how fast something's going. So I'm going to drag my velocity arrows back to more or less 0. And what you guys are going to figure out is there are a lot of ways to have an unstable orbit. What that means is if something's unstable, your objects are going to collide together or they're going to escape each other, never to come back. We call those collisions and escape. Like for example, if I set the velocity for both my objects in this simple solar system to 0, the force of gravity is still there, and I'm going to set the speed to accurate. If I click start, you guys can probably guess what is going to happen. The objects collide into each other. And so our planet got sucked into the star, they collided, and now there's just one. The other thing that you can do is if I set the velocity of the objects in such a way that they escape each other, we call that an escape. That's also an unstable orbit. The two objects aren't orbiting each other. One leaves and it will never return. So we call that an escape. What really you guys are going to try to do is set up your solar system so that you can create a stable orbit. All right. And you're going to do that by playing around with the simulation. Spend several minutes just playing and seeing what happens. To help you with this, you can also, there are preset functions too. There's plenty of stable orbits in there too if you want to go looking there. You can use the grid to sort of figure out where things are, and there's also a tape measure too, although I don't particularly use the tape measure all that much. All right, good luck.